All right, folks, what is good? Before I get this episode started, I want to let you guys know that this episode is going to be about Georgia Southern players departing from the program, guys who are graduating and or transferring. There's one player I did not mention. I didn't talk about Kyle Van Treese. He's been here for 1 year, but he's done a phenomenal job of helping this program transform. So he's not necessarily talked about in this episode. I'm going to do a complete episode for him, one all to himself, because he's done a lot. He's done a lot more for this program that a lot of people may not even know. So we'll talk about that in another episode. So if you're wondering why he's not mentioned, it's because of that. A full episode is going to be about Kyle Van Treese, probably sooner than later. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 502 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And I'm not going to say I want to. This episode has taken a more of a calmer and somber type of approach from last, episode 501. I was more like, we need to never forget what happened in the Camellia Bowl. We also need to get these guys to come in and understand, which I'm pretty sure they have already, what being Georgia Southern men is all about. And the new guys that are coming in, have those guys tough and nasty and be blue collar. But I'm gonna do the opposite today. We're not gonna talk about the guys that are still gonna be here. We're gonna talk about the men that are departing, the ones that are going off to do better things in their lives as far as post graduation and where they're going and not going to be on the football field with us anymore. I can't name them all because I don't know everyone who's actually leaving, but I want to give all those guys a blanket, a blanket sense of appreciation, because I can name a few, but I can't name you all. But if I missed you, I apologize. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a little bit of my amazing Discord that is going on right now. These guys are awesome. I cannot thank these guys enough in the Discord for the information, and I highly recommend you join it. The link is down in the description. Join this Discord if you want real, authentic, passionate, real Georgia Southern, just real Georgia Southern talk. We do Falcon stuff over there as well, but the Georgia Southern stuff is off the charts. I cannot thank those guys over there enough. We're going to talk a little bit of Falcons too, and not much, but we're going to really get into more of the not necessarily tanking, what the Falcons are doing. They're going to be evaluating talent because, like I said the other day, the offseason is starting now. So if these guys want to come in and play to their best of their abilities, this is a good time to do so, because you could probably get a roster spot for next year and don't have to worry about being cut when the first time cuts are being made. If this is your first time here, welcome. I know I just rambled a good bit, but I am on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. This show is brought to you by BetUS. Click that link down in the description. Get put $100 in, get 125% bet book bonus, and you can bet on anything from the NFL to NBA to MMA to esports, everything in the umbrella. It is a nice it's a nice program that I use to put wages out there. I highly recommend it. So check that out. Enough of all of that. I want to thank everybody who's been watching. I really, really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get into this show about 3 minutes in. I think I said enough about the intro and all the other stuff. We got some good guys, good young men that are leaving. Dylan Springer, Najee Thompson, Gerald Green is in the transfer portal. You got oh goodness, I just forgot his name that quick. Let me look on my phone. You got Justin Ellis that is leaving. I mean, you got some guys. Oh goodness, you're gonna have to. There it is, Anthony Beck. I always get him mixed up. I get him mixed up with the other punter that we used to have sometimes. Please, and I know this is weird because I know Matt Bowerly is gone already. Bowerly is gone. He works in Arizona now with he's doing great things now. But I always get those two mixed up, so I'd be scared to say the wrong name. But Anthony Beck is declared for the NFL draft, and I firmly believe he's going to make a team. He's a great punter. He's a great kid, and he's a really good athlete as well. But I want to thank those guys and everyone else doing. Derek Canteen is another one that is going Todd Bradley Glenn. He actually has another year eligibility. I don't know if he's going to come back to actually try to play, but just putting a sense in that he may not. I just want to thank all of these guys because not only that they helped with the transition of this new regime in, they built something back in the old regime when we won those 10 games. When we made it to the Cure Bowl, when we had those big drag out, knockout games against Appalachian State. They were there for all this time, 16. I don't think some have been there since 2016. Some probably been there a little longer than that. You had the 2018 season, the 2019 season. They've been through the ups and downs when we lost our coach and got a new one, and they put everything together to make something happen. And unfortunately, it did not finish the way that they wanted to with the Camellia Bowl. But these guys really, are appreciated. They put in a lot of work, and I really, really appreciate it. We are losing some really good guys. But I know they're passing the torch to other guys that are going to be able to, they're going to be able to continue on the legacy or even actually take it to a step further of what is about being a GS man, about being at Georgia Southern, about wearing that blue and white. You got a lot of young guys here that's going to be very special. And I will talk about those guys throughout the off season. One guy that stood out that I was actually extremely surprised about, and I don't want to get into this because he's not departing. He's going to be a guy that's going to be around for a while. Mark Stambley turned into a very fine cornerback and a very good special teams player. I am very, very impressed with what he's done. But we'll talk about those guys, the freshmen and the returning players later. Watching the Dylan Springer go through all the things that he's gone through to be a pretty good defensive lineman. Justin Ellis the same way. Watching all the things that Anthony Beck has done, on special teams, the trick plays, the option, punting and pinning these guys, the opposition deep. So we have to, not do much to keep them in bad field position. The Derek Canteens of the world when he came in as a freshman and was able to lead the whole FBS in interceptions. Gerald Green with a few legendary, I would say legendary, but one of the a few top-notch legendary runs in his career. When he broke off for 60-plus yards in one game and the touchdown run against Nebraska. These guys are really special, and I'm glad that they were able to put something, together to create somewhat of a winning culture here at Georgia Southern. Now, don't get it wrong. We don't have a winning record this year, but the culture is there. These guys want to win football games. These guys want much more than what they accomplished in the last few years. And it's because of the guys that were able to make something happen and going on to their next line of their lives or next chapter of their lives with them being, graduates or transfers. It's going to be really awesome to see what those guys do when they come back and they visit and they watch, Georgia Southern do something like they play Appalachian State next year in Paulson. I mean, not next year, but the year after next in Paulson. What if they do return and watch us play Georgia State in Paulson next year? These are the things that you live for. These guys at the end of the day, they're Georgia Southern true and true. Through and through. True blue. And this is just a part of the process. They come here for 4, 5, 6 years. They make a name for themselves. They give us great moments, and they go on along with their lives. It really bothered me a little bit when I watched Shy Wirtz leave, or when I watched Tyler Bass go on, or Kendall Vildor, watch those guys go, Rashad Byrd, and I think that's one of the first times it really hit me because I've been following Georgia Southern football for a long time. But it's the first time it really hit me because I think it was like this is now where I'm doing, commentary on the teams. So it's a really big deal for me to watch these guys, grow up and go. I remember Shy Werts getting that start as a freshman. You know, I remember watching Tyler Bass, kicking field goals as a sophomore, and I mean, we never thought that he was going to make it to the NFL. But look at him, he's one of the top premier kickers in the NFL right now. It's just amazing just to watch some people paths go where they are. You know, when Matt Barley end up, not playing for us anymore, and he goes on to do his thing. I didn't know, this kid right here that was right behind him, the Anthony Back to the world. I didn't see that. But it's good to see this whole transition. So you never know. With all these guys departing, you don't never know who's going to be stepping up right behind them. We already got a punter that's coming in from Australia that's going to be, that's going to be really interesting to see what he does. We got some cornerbacks that's going to be taking the place of Derek Canteen. We got a handful of running backs, even though Gerald Green is gone now. We got Omari Arnold showed a lot of promise. Jay Sean Anderson, Terrence Gibbs, Jalen White. So AJ Brown is still around. I think him and Tyler Jordan, those guys are still around. So this is something that is really cool to see. I'm really, really happy for these guys departing. They're going to go do something else, and it's going to be really, really awesome to see what happens. Who knows where Gerald Green will end up at? Gerald Green may end up, with USF. Matt Merritt's the new coach down there. He may end up down there. I think Gerald Green could play at a Power 5 school. I think he's that good of a running back. I mean, one of the big things about Gerald Green, he has experience. He does not like, and he has a lot of tread on the tires because it was so many different players. There were so many different players that was running the rock for Georgia Southern. So Gerald Green was one of those guys that, that was actually, around, that was just waiting for his time. So it's going to be awesome to see. I don't have much more to say about that. I just want to say thank you to all those guys. And for us, Georgia Southern, I think we're in good hands. And if you want more information about this, what's going on with Georgia Southern, please go to my Discord. The link will be down in the description. I'll put down another link, a fresh link, because I think that link may be broken by now. But I'm going to put another link down there so you guys can check it out. I mean, it is an amazing Discord that has been built. And it's all thanks to those guys. I created this Discord, me along with DJ81. Shout out to him. We decided to put this together, but it was more of his idea, but it turned into something really nice. So before I get out of here, I want to talk about these Falcons. Tanking, is it an option? Yeah. I don't think it's I say it's not an option, but I would not be surprised. Because you get a better pick. You probably can pick as high as 3. But at the same time, what really needs to go on is you need to evaluate these players. These players are the ones that are going to be getting contracts. They could possibly get cut. So they really need to be mindful of what they do or don't do when it comes to playing football. I think these guys are going to still go and play hard. And they're going to play as strong as they can and try to win these football games. That's just me. Because no player actually goes out there and say, hey, we're going to lose. So, I mean, it's just that simple. I want to see more of Desmond Ridder to get better at the position. See like he know how to take command of an offense. I want to see him execute a little bit better because there's always room for improvement. I don't want to see anybody get hurt out there. So you got to be mindful of that. You don't want to, get hurt in a meaningless game. And, as far as playoff hopes are, but you want these guys to play to the best of their ability to show you what they can do for down the road with future purposes, what they're going to be able to do when they're able to actually put it all together and get on the track of trying to win real and significant in a lot of football games. So it's not much to say on that end. I just want to let you guys know that the Falcons are evaluating these guys. Coach Arthur Smith is evaluating these players. Just because they're out of the playoff hunt, that doesn't mean that you just go and lay down and walk on the field and let everybody score on you, and you just, hey, we got the next draft pick. You know, even though you want a high draft pick, who's to know that any of these draft picks will pan out? They may, but you just don't want to gamble like that. You want to put your best foot forward everywhere you go. And I think that Coach Arthur Smith is going to continue to have those guys on that track. A lot of cap space for next year, too. A lot. Something to think about. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I want to somewhat apologize to you guys for the somber mood of this show. It is warranted. The guys that are leaving are really well deserved to give a good send off. I think those guys are going to go and do great things. Those are just phenomenal guys. So hopefully the next group of people that's going to come in and make the team are going to continue on showing off what a professional, and I'll say being a professional at this level, because those guys carried themselves like professionals. They carried themselves like professionals. You know. And I wouldn't be remiss even talking about Kyle Van Treese, but don't worry about that. I will be talking about Kyle Van Treese on another episode. I'm going to be talking about him on a whole different episode. I'll probably have a whole episode dedicated to what he's done to this for this program. So if you are worried about that, because I didn't say anything in this episode, please be aware that I will be talking about him in a full episode, because he means a lot to this program. I think he's done a lot for this program, more than we would like to think. So don't worry, that's coming. So, all right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I am on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, also on YouTube and Rumble. Check me out in all those areas. Click that Bet US link down there. It helps the channel. If you put down $100, get a 125% bet book bonus. It helps all the way around. I'm going to get out of here. You guys take it easy, and you guys be blessed. Peace.